Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Bow and Arrow Tarot. Today we're going to get right into the weekly reading for the sign of Sagittarius. Alright, my brothers and sisters. I am a Sagittarius myself. I've got 4 planets in Sagittarius, so this is going to be for my collective. And let's get right into Sagittarius. We're going to pull out your romance angel messages, followed by your animal spirits, and then we'll go ahead and get right into your traditional tarot deck forecast for the week. Of course, this is going to be for November 24th to the 30th, right? So let's get right into it. Wedding. Wow. 6 times this card has shown up. Free yourself. Some of you are meeting your future husbands or wives this week. Calling in your soulmate. Oh, very nice. Sweating has been everywhere. You know, situations are calling for that. Situations are involving weddings. You're going to weddings, or you're being asked. You're considering, right, getting married, whatever the case may be. But we're going to get right into all of that. Let's pull out your animal spirits, Sagittarius. So odd, because wedding is one of those very rare cards that generally only comes up once in a while, but it has been all over these weekly readings. So I'd be interested, those of you who are going to a wedding this week, sound off in the description, in the comment section. Or if you're getting married, you know, sound off. Let us know what this card may mean to you, okay? All right, guys. Let's pull out your animal spirits, which of course can be energies that are available to you this week. They can be personalities you're dealing with, or they can also be stages in life that you're about to enter into. The cheetah, strong fire energy, high level of achievement, Sagittarius. The hawk, air energy. And the octopus. Ooh, all right. Interesting, this octopus. All right, let's get right into it. The cheetah is, of course, as I said, it is a fire elemental spirit, animal spirit. And we're talking about a masculine, right? Very strong masculine energy. We're talking about high levels of achievement. The sun basically, you know, it almost feels as though that the sun radiates from the inside of the cheetah. The focus and determination that cheetahs show is really unmatched in a lot of ways. This person, anybody who resonates with this energy, can be awe-inspiring to watch, literally. People around them are astounded by the feats that they are able to accomplish. These are huge goals, huge achievements. The cheetah is just so single-minded, and the drive and purpose, right? This is the thing that really makes the cheetah so unique, right? Is the level of life purpose, right? The cheetah just is always driven. This is a driven individual, but not in a sort of toxic way. This is a person who just simply, when you meet this individual, you just know that they are going to accomplish what they put their minds to. They can be very, very inspirational. And just a force to be reckoned with, right? Now, the hawk. Talking about air element, the hawk has this beautiful ability to be able to see the whole picture and the details, right? The hawk is also one of these animal spirits that can bring messages from the divine. It is a bringer of messages in the sense that oftentimes when the hawk is around, you know, fate in a lot of ways has its eye on you, right? You know, and in a lot of ways you are, if you're resonating with hawk energy, you are you're being able to now sort of see clearer, right? It could be that up until now, perhaps you may have not understood why certain things had to happen the way they happened, or why some of the smaller pieces to the puzzle are there. But with the hawk, you really begin to see and understand how everything is connected, how one leads to the next. And it really gives you a view on how to move forward, right? And also, as I say, there is the hawk on it. You could say on the wings of the hawk, right, come the messages of the divine, in the sense that life is telling you in a lot of ways what the next step is, or what your best next step is, how to handle a particular situation. It is an air element card, so we're dealing with the mental and communication, right? And so this is a really, really good card for gaining perspective. You know, if you have been working on something for a while and you've lost a bit of perspective, the hawk can bring it in. Now the octopus is water energy. And I made that expression because the octopus is really kind of, can be quite a toxic energy. The octopus is an energy drainer. They are synonymous with, you know, no boundaries. The octopus really has no boundaries, or it doesn't really respect many boundaries. It gets its tentacles really sort of ensnared in a lot of different messy situations because of that. The octopus is the type of person, you never speak to somebody and when they walk away you feel absolutely drained. The octopus energy is at play. This is the person who gives you way too much personal information and it's draining. They also tend to suck your energy as well. Oftentimes they can just sort of wiggle into your relationships or into your sort of life and business and become all entangled in that, right? And just in a very unhealthy way. If you're resonating with this, or if you're dealing with someone who's resonating with this, it's time to set boundaries. Set very specific boundaries. Say, look, this is how far we're going with this or this. This is what I'm willing to discuss with you. You know, I'm not willing to give you but so much of my time, etc. This is really very much an individual that you have to be very sort of, I want to say, not strict, but you have to be constantly reminding them, you know, of these boundaries, right? Because they're going to forget. So you're constantly having to enforce the line with an octopus personality. Now, let's get right into your spread, Sagittarius. We're going to pull out about 4 to 6 3-card spreads for you this week, just to see what you may or may not be dealing with, what you may or may not be coming across, events or scenarios. Let's just see. And of course, Sagittarius, just take what applies, what resonates with you. If it doesn't resonate, if it doesn't apply to you, just let it fly. You may resonate with part of these forecasts or one entire forecast or none at all. And all of that is absolutely fine. Let's move these up a little. I already know I'm going to need some space. So, first out the gate. 3 of Wands. It's been around a lot lately. 7 of Wands and 2 of Wands. So some of you are coming into this week very contemplative, waiting, showing, you know, being patient, allowing things to unfold naturally. There's really not much more that you can do, right? The situation is calling for you to wait, hold on, and allow something important to come in, right? It talks about allowing things to unfold naturally. It talks about taking a lay of the land, right? Taking a good look at the lay of the land before you make your next move, right? It's interesting because we have the 2 of Wands and 3 of Wands. It's the 2 of Wands that gets us sort of raring to go, and then in comes the 3 and he says, stop for a minute. Something else needs to happen. Something else needs to come in. You need to be a little patient. Some things need to unfold. And so you come into this week like this, some of you Sagittarius, of course, and you're met with the 7 of Wands energy in the sense that something happens and you're really forced to have to stand your ground, right? You're forced to have to stand your ground. You're forced in a lot of ways to have to come up with some creative solutions to some of these obstacles that may be coming into your way this week. And I'm going to say that this particular sort of scenario of having to sort of battle for your position a little bit, battle for your like little square piece of the earth, you know, to maintain your ideals, right, your objectives, is probably what was necessary. There's going to be some sort of interaction this week that is going to allow you to sort of move forward properly, because you end the week with a Two of Wands. So you start the week with somewhere along the line, there may be an obstacle or a stagnation or a blockage or something, but you free yourself, you free yourself from it this week. And then you're able to right away, the ball is rolling again. Two of Wands is Mars and Aries energy. Okay. And 7 is the number for dreams and aspirations. So this event that happens, or this kind of dynamic that goes on this week, is part of your sort of path to your ultimate dream, right? And so there's something that needs to be fixed there, or something that needs to be sort of fought for in a lot of ways. And even sort of the fight itself, or the tension or the dynamic itself, is going to allow you to come up with a really sort of creative solution to something in your life that up until now you haven't really been able to solve, but you were willing to move past. Well, life is telling you here that you can't move past it. We really need you to slow down and handle this, and then the ball will be absolutely rolling forward again. All right, it's very strong. Certainly, it reminds me of Hawk energy, of course. It's very much related to Hawk energy in the sense that there's a message coming in, or there's something about this objective, this path that you're on right now, that is requiring you to look at some of the nitty-gritty. There's some of the nitty-gritty of your plans, some little details that you really need to work on, that if you don't work on them now, they will come up later on, possibly, and bite you in the ass, as it were, right? It could also be that you're dealing with an octopus energy individual, right? And you need to really deal with them before you can move forward. This could be, again, somebody constantly crosses the boundary with you, constantly sort of sucks your energy, right? And maybe you're feeling like, I'll deal with them later, but whatever the case may be, the situation has to be handled before you can move forward. 9 of Wands, 6 of Swords, and the Hermit. Some of you most recently have really had enough of a very difficult time. You've been looking at a particular scenario. I think, Sagittarius, some of you have come out of a relationship, I'm going to say, or a stage in your life that has been very, very, difficult, right? You feel like you've had to take a lot of sort of burdens on, a lot of oppressive feelings, right? Things have been happening in a particular dynamic, I want to say, or a particular scenario that you've been trying to deal with it, you've been shouldering it, but it's become a little bit too much, right? And you feel very much like you want it to end. It isn't quite over yet, or perhaps it wasn't quite over yet, but you come into this week with a real sense of being determined, realizing, maybe up until now you weren't sure if you had to let this go, right? But now this week, as you look back on everything that happened in this particular dynamic, right, you realize that, yeah, this has not been healthy for me. This is something that I have to let go. It may take a little bit longer, but it is something that I have to let go. And 6 of Swords talks about making a conscientious decision to move forward. You absolutely are met with this 6 of Swords, and in a lot of ways, an opportunity opens up for you, Sagittarius, to move away from this situation. It could actually be a physical move, or it could just be a mental move in the sense that you realize you've had enough, right? You've realized you've had enough of this kind of struggling yet being on your own. This could also represent sort of a relationship that you're struggling in, but that you still feel alone in, right? You don't feel close to this person because of all of the different sort of toxic ways of communicating, or some of the sort of trauma or burden or baggage that you're starting to accumulate as a result of this kind of toxic or sort of difficult sort of dynamic here. And so it's very much a case of I wish this had worked. I tried. I wish this had worked, but I don't want to continue in this situation until it's too much for me to handle, which would be a 10 of Wands and a laying down. But sometimes we don't want to get to the 10 of Wands, right? We don't want to get to the point where it's, you know, the straw has finally broke the camel's back. You want to sort of end before that. It's almost as if, Sagittarius, you see the writing on the wall. You already know that this situation is only going to get worse, right? And that eventually you will have to leave it anyway. And I think for some of you, you're just deciding now that, you know, you don't want to wait until you're completely sort of like damaged, right? And you're making an intentional decision. The opportunity comes for you to leave. You round the week off with Hermit energy, in the sense that you leave this dynamic. And this is why I feel this is very much a case of this could very much be the case of a love connection or a wedding where you leave someone at the altar, okay? This could very much be a case of that, leaving someone, or you may have planned to be married, right? And this week you just look back on your life with this person and you say, you know what? I can't do it. I thought I could do it, but I can't do it. Yeah, I love them. I care for them, but life with them is such a fucking nightmare that I just can't go through with it. And you leave. You physically leave, or you leave the situation, you free yourself, and you absolutely walk away on your own with that Hermit energy. Certainly with wedding and free yourself, and with these sort of energies at play, we are definitely talking about somebody being left at the altar this week. Six of Wands, Ace of Wands, and the Empress. Some of you are coming in this week riding on a victory. Huge victory, but it's a huge victory, but it's just a temporary one on the path to an even greater win, which is the battle. But this week you get a victory in the sense that you start to get some recognition for all your hard work. People are noticing you resonating higher. It feels great. It's a great boost to your self-esteem, and you're riding this week on this feeling of having possibly accomplished something, accomplish one of the sort of stages on a path, right? Here we talk about Hawk energy, seeing all of the moving parts, all of the stages in a bigger picture. And here we have that victory. This is one little victory in that bigger picture. And so it's giving you a huge boost to go forward, a huge boost to self-confidence, and just a huge boost in understanding that you're on the right path, right? You're met with an Ace of Wands in a sense that I think for some of you, you meet a new love connection, because Ace of Wands Ace of Wands is a great phallic symbol in the deck, and it can talk about a new beginning in a stage of your life, or in a creative endeavor, something that's very close to your heart. But it can also indicate a new love connection that is extremely sort of magnetic, very physical attraction, right? And a sort of wow, you know, it just comes together, and suddenly you meet somebody. This can also indicate sometimes meeting somebody who really sort of makes you kind of, you know, oh my gosh, you know, you ever have that feeling, you know, where somebody can actually make you sort of lose your breath for a second because the attraction is so strong. You round the week off with Empress energy in the sense that you feel beautiful. You feel beautiful, you feel receptive, you feel loved, you feel highly creative, and you begin to see the fruits of your labor. On the back of this win here and this new connection, you begin your life, and your environment is beginning to mirror your soul and all the beauty that you have inside, Sagittarius. And you're starting to really see sort of the beginnings of your garden forming. You know, your garden forming in the sense of having, you know, everything you've worked for internally and everything you've worked towards expressing externally is beginning to come together. It feels very much like a coming together of everything. 3 is bonding loyalty. Empress is the divine feminine in a lot of ways. This is also a feeling of wanting to nurture yourself, take care of yourself, because you are resonating with so much self-confidence. You're feeling so good about yourself and so highly creative that you just round the week off with this very, very strong Empress energy. All right, Sagittarius, Hanged Man, 4 of Swords, and 10 of Pentacles. This is going to be the last spread. And the Hanged Man comes in. So the Hanged Man talks about waking up and realizing that you were stuck in some area. I'm going to say for some of you, most recently you were in a situation that was really holding you back. Okay? and you've woken up to it. Hangman comes in when we wake up, right? You can see the ring of enlightenment around his head. Oftentimes, this is also one of the most misinterpreted cards in the deck. Oftentimes, people say the Hanged Man is stuck. He's not stuck. The Hanged Man can come down off of that T-square anytime he chooses. He just doesn't feel like it. Okay, and so in this way, it's a kind of an oversimplification to say that he's stuck. He chooses to be stuck because nothing has come into his life that's really inspired him enough to make an effort, right? However, when the Hangman shows up in a reading, it means that something has come into your life that has made you want to make the effort, and you realize that you have really been languishing. You realize that you want to put your best foot forward, and so we have the enlightenment comes in, and it's the awakening. So you come into this week, and with Four of Swords, you realize that you have to be very, very strategic. You're being very careful because, of course, for a long time, you haven't made any moves. Perhaps for a long time, in one particular area in your life, you haven't really been putting the effort in. And so now that you've woken up, you realize that it's even more important for you to really take care of what you say, what you do, to make sure that you're very intentional about all of the steps that you're making because you're wanting to achieve something very great. Cheetah, right? Again, it is a huge inspiration that wakes the Hanged Man up. So this determination and purpose that suddenly comes in is very synonymous with cheetah energy. And it's like you come off the blocks on fire. But you come off the blocks on fire, certainly with the mental side of you being very, very acute, very clear, and very single-minded to make sure that every step that you take is going to ultimately help you achieve this great feat. You round the week off with Ten of Pentacles, and Ten of Pentacles is wealth on every level coming in. Personal wealth, emotional wealth, financial wealth, abundance in love and relationships, and abundance in finance. It all comes together to make the complete picture. Some of you who may have been struggling for a little while, even financially, to take care of your families, the money begins to come in. Huge achievement starts to come in. And it's a completion. It's a completion in the sense that you raise up to a certain level. Your abundance and the abundance that's coming in is sort of raised up to a certain level, and it'll never go back again, right? You know, 10 represents completion, and within it is the inkling of something new. And so it's like when you level up, right? Once you level up, you don't go back down. This is a true leveling up and a completion, and now you're going to go forward from this position to level up and to progress even further. Some of you, this will include certainly a love connection, right? That has perhaps been holding you back, that you have remained in, and now you've freed yourself. And because this connection, you're freed from it now, it's almost as if the rest of your life, all of the obstacles are sort of cleared out the way. The clear thinking comes in. Some of you, sometimes when you're bogged down in relationships, really muddies your thinking, you know, because Sagittarius, you're very passionate about your relationships, you know. And so a lot of times it can also be that one other area of your life will take perhaps a hit, or maybe be stagnated a little bit, or perhaps you don't have as much energy to put into it because you've been putting a lot of energy into a relationship perhaps, or a connection with somebody that wasn't even progressing you, right? You wake up to all of this and it's like you're propelled forward. You certainly resonate with cheetah energy if you're resonating with this forecast. All right, guys, this is your reading for November 24th to the 30th. I hope you enjoyed this. Please like, subscribe, and share if you did. Sagittarius, I love you guys so much. Please check out your monthly reading for December. Very, very strong. This is the last week of November, and December is going to promise to be a good month for everyone in a lot of areas. But this week, we do have a new moon in Sagittarius, and I will be doing new moon readings to see what new endeavors, what seeds you're sowing for this period. But for right now, Sagittarius, have a wonderful, wonderful week, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye now.